Across America, forced law-abiding citizens into curfew as rioters and looters burn and smash. Protesters watch their cause undermined by violent hangers-on.
But I'm literally looking at my neighbors now going, I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors.
Wow. Keep the white name out your fucking mouth.
Thank you for
Good morning.
Good morning.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.
Written. Glenn Beck will have his own chapter as possibly the greatest synthesizer of big ideas ever to appear on camera.
There are dozens of videos and photos of Obama having flies land on him indoors at all times of year, and he'll be next to 100 people and no one has flies on him.
Does anyone have a question for Santa Claus?
Santa, do you have to wear a mask?
When I'm in my workshop with all my elves, we all are masked up and social distancing.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Oh, yeah, it's hump day, baby. Guns up, giddy up. Welcome to the Philly Style Podcast channel. This is the last call episode. This is the episode that goes out to all the live YouTube members, paid live YouTube members every Wednesday, and then out to everybody else on Thursday. So if you're part of the Patreon or the paid YouTube, you get to see this one day early, and it's all the news so that you don't sound like an asshole first responder to your civilian friends all weekend long. Gives you something else to talk about other than the job, baby. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about this week. There's so much in the news. This show has become one of the easiest shows to do because of the ratings, because of the rankings of this show. When we used to do odd, weird news, it did good numbers. It had decent numbers on this channel. But anytime I got political or we talked about like our spin on what CNN or Fox News had to say, our ratings went way up. So you guys asked for this kind of news, and that's the kind of news that we're going to deliver you every week. But it's our take on it, which is, you know, in my opinion, there's a little bit more journalistic integrity with this show because I try to really go the extra mile to get all the key facts, or at least I let you know when my opinion's kicking in. But we have so much to cover today. And today's show is brought to you by stamps.com, ghostbed.com, promo codes Wolfpack there. And of course, Manscaped. This is a Manscaped week as well. So any of those advertisers, please support them. Support those who support us. I can't say that enough. Listen, guys, if you're mailing stuff at home, if you have your own little personal small business and you're not using stamps.com, and you're not using that promo code Wolfpack, man, what are you doing, man? They support law enforcement, baby. They support the show. Support them. Manscaped, obviously, you should all be manscaping. If you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son, but I got 99 problems and my bush ain't one. My bush ain't one. Manscaped.com/Wolfpack. And also, if you ever want to know why I'm so hyper after doing 5 shows a week and being a guest on other people's shows, how I keep this thing going, it's because I sleep on a ghost bed. I sleep on a ghost bed pillow. The best pillow in the house. Actually, we only have one ghost bed pillow because I've just been meaning to buy another ghost bed pillow. But every time I buy a ghost bed pillow, I give it to somebody else. But my wife uses the ghost bed pillow right now because she's pregnant. And every time she gets up to go pee, I try to swap them real quick in the middle of the night. She always catches me. It's a little fun thing that we've got going on. But guys, today's show is loaded. Obviously, we have the Tucker Carlson stuff we've got to get into. The ISIS-K leader, listen, I think that story is 100% propaganda, and I'll tell you why. Texan, there's an awesome dress code going out. Only in Texas could this happen. Of course, we have Joe Biden is now running in 2024. We got to talk about that. I'm going to blow your mind with some Wendy's logo stuff. That'll blow your mind. And then also we've got, just more of the Tucker Carlson, Don Lemon. I forgot Don Lemon. Oh, and we've got some people being arrested around the world for social media posts too.
It shock you where they're getting arrested from.
Oh, can only imagine. I can only imagine. We'll have some Tanstradamus predictions on this episode. Just so much to get into. I don't want to waste anybody else's time on this. Please go leave us a 5-star rating or review on iTunes, Spotify. Listen, go the extra mile today. Do us a favor. Do yourself a favor. Please go leave us a rating and review if you haven't done so already. It really helps us go a long way. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump into obviously the most pressing news of the week, probably of this century. Where were you on 9/11?
I was a senior in high school. We were at an event that we were catering, this medical program that I was in for high school. We were using it to get money to pay for stuff for the thing. And they stopped. It was like a keynote speaker. They stopped it. They wheeled out the giant big screen TV. Then they wheeled out a second giant big screen TV. And then everybody just kind of stopped. And I had already signed up for the Army at this point. I knew I was going to basic like months in advance, but I was supposed to go like in October or November of 2003, and then that got all pushed up. So graduated and we went straight to the sandbox.
Great. I mean, well, of course, right? Where were you when bin Laden was killed?
I remember I was in Hawaii. I was eating with my friends.
The point is, Josh, is that you remember where you were on these days.
Exactly.
And I think you're going to remember exactly where you're at on the day that Tucker Carlson was let go from Fox News. This is scary. To me, this is very scary. We know that Fox News, there was a majority of stocks from a company that we have talked about on this podcast many times. It's really funny, guys, that when we get in these conspiracy theories, that they become conspiracy facts. I'm talking about what? Blackstone.
BlackRock.
I mean, I'm sorry, BlackRock. Gosh, I always get that. Blackstone is the grill. BlackRock. We actually, one of our second episodes ever on Failure to Stop was with Dan Holloway, where we exposed a lot of things that BlackRock was doing with basically holding illegal immigrant children secretly in these massive warehouses until they're 18 years old, and with no checks and balances, with nobody allowed to go in and inspect them, with nobody allowed to get anywhere near them. So they're housing hundreds of Mexican children coming across the border, and nobody's allowed to even go in and do it. The media is not allowed to go in there and take a look around. And the whole thing was really sketchy. And there was a lot of other things that BlackRock has done. Now, fast forward 2 years, BlackRock about a month ago.
It was like the filings went out, I think, in January, February.
So a couple months ago, BlackRock purchased a substantial amount of stock in Fox News.
They went from 39,800,000 shares to 45,700,000 shares. So they went from 12.9% ownership of the company to 15.1% ownership of the company.
If we know anything about Tucker Carlson, this is the kind of stuff that he has been trying to expose. He is the last of the real journalists. He's the last one. Everybody else, Don Bongino, all those guys, everybody else that has half a brain has gone podcast. Joe Rogan, who else?
Joe, Dan, us,
lots of these guys. They all go private because they understand that, like, real journalism, if you don't want to be a robot and you want to have your own opinion and you want to, dive into real news, you go private. The guys from Breaking Points, Christian Sager, those guys, they turned out, it was funny because somebody had asked them, like, what if Fox News comes for them, are they going to go? And Tucker Carlson's spot, because I do think that Breaking Points is probably one of the most trustworthy. They're not always right. I don't think you can always be right. I'm not always right. Of course, I'm not always right. But I think Breaking Points is probably one of the most trustworthy news sources on the planet right now. They are left wing. But they do a great job of doing real journalism and questioning everything. So, but they were asked if they were going to go over to Fox News, and they said there wouldn't be enough money in the world to make them go over to Fox News. Not enough money in the world, or CNN, or any mainstream media. Mainstream media is dead. Like, it doesn't exist. It is nothing but a propaganda fuel machine. The only thing that mainstream media had was Tucker Carlson. Whether you liked him or hated him, he was the only mainstream media anchor that was successful on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. Nobody else is posting anything else that any of these other guys are saying, or girls. And Don Lemon was the only thing left, even though, a lot of his stuff, again, like him or hate him, what you saw on social media that was coming from mainstream media, any of the content was either coming from Don Lemon or it was coming from Tucker Carlson. Now, both of those guys are gone. Mainstream media has nothing else. And there's nobody else out there to question the narrative either. And I didn't like Don Lemon at all. And I don't like what all of his cohorts said about him. Tucker Carlson has a few cohorts that don't like him. So, but there's a few cohorts that don't like me, probably. There's probably a lot of people that don't like me. But Don Lemon, I just think, generally speaking, probably was just an asshole. I think there's more evidence than not that says he's a complete asshole. But I'm not defending him. But I respected the fact that he would go off of the rails and kind of let his own passions come through. And he got in trouble for it a number of times on CNN. But now that you have both those voices gone, I think mainstream media is completely dead.
How do you not question the timing of everything?
Well, and that's the thing too, because, we talk about conspiracy facts, right? And Tucker Carlson has really been going on a lot of other podcasts, and he's been really shitting on the Fox News narrative. He apologized publicly on a huge podcast platform about his stance on the Iraq war, and that he now knows that he was part of the machine, the industrial military complex, and that he lives with that every day. And he's apologetic and he's sorry. He's the only one that's ever come out and said, I'm sorry for getting caught up. He's like, I was a little bit younger back then. I'm more idealistic. He's like, my eyes weren't, he wasn't woke yet to all this corruption, this global corruption. But that's basically like spitting in Fox News's face, because Fox News is the one that gave him all the information to, all the propaganda to spread there. So, I had been asking for a long time. We all know that Fox News is part of the system. And when you got their main guy, the guy that has the most views out of everybody in mainstream media, when he's coming out and bashing mainstream media, how long can he possibly last there? You can't have a guy like that in place if you're going to spread real propaganda. They have to get rid of him. And it happened. They got rid of him, fired him.
The biggest thing that I always, when everything happens, anything crazy happens, the first thing I go, follow the money. Where's the money coming from? Where is it going? Because everything that we're seeing is he is the highest rated anything, not just on Fox, but on all news. So if you're going to take your highest money maker, the reason why people are watching, and you're going to fire that person, you're going to get rid of the reason why. That's like, why would you?
Well, here's the problem with that, Josh, is that, he had the most views, but he did not have the most money. Advertisers wouldn't support the show because they needed him to go away. These advertising firms, the same reason we had to leave the other network. Although we were the second largest show on the network, we beat out Chuck Liddell's show. We beat out Adam Ray from Comedy Central. Failure to Stop was a huge show on that network. It was the second largest show on the network. It competed for second. It was a very close, tight second. But we weren't making them any money because the advertisers did not want it. The advertising companies did not. And it's not specific advertisers. See, all these advertisers, they go through one umbrella company. So it's not saying that, I'm just going to make up a name. I'm not saying that Dead Leg Media didn't want to sponsor Failure to Stop, but C- Corporation, who owns the advertising firm that Dead Leg Media, that, I'm again making up stuff, that Tansey skateboard decks, that Drew Breezy's cooling sheets, Egyptian cotton sheets, those companies fall under that umbrella. Well, if that umbrella says we're not as a whole going to support you, Drew Breezy's Egyptian cotton sheets, Tansey skateboard decks, doesn't matter. We can't advertise with you. So a lot of these advertisers were like, we don't support Tucker Carlson. It doesn't support the narrative. It doesn't support our investors. We need to get rid of them. And so when the network knows that they're not getting money from the umbrella of advertising agencies, then they shit can them. But that's the whole point, is these advertising firms own you and they own these networks, because without them, they can't make any money. So it's, hey, be careful on how you report about being pro-police right now with this whole Uvalde thing. Our advertisers don't like that. And then you do it anyway. And the advertisers are like, yeah, we told you not to do it. We're not going to support you. And then what chance do these networks have? Literally, they cannot survive without ads. and you cannot get an ad without going through an ad agency. It's just where we're at.
Because then you go, okay, where's the money? Then we'll just look at their stocks. So if they got ads, they lost a shit ton of money in the last 3 days.
Oh yeah. I think this is a Bud Light move for Fox News. I don't think they're accounting for I think the boycott on Fox News, I think that the only thing that people tuned into mainstream media for was Tucker Carlson. On both sides. I mean, he was the only thing that kept mainstream media relevant at all. I think now that I think there's going to be just so many people. I think all the younger people are just going to be uninterested completely with mainstream media. Not that they're not already uninterested, but now they're going to be even more uninterested in mainstream media. And then all the old heads, he had a following. They're going to go with him. So what's interesting here, though, is that he's got 18 months left on his contract, which means he can't go do news anywhere else. And guess what that takes him right through?
The election season.
So they have silenced the only thing that can speak out against Joe Biden that's relevant to mainstream media. They have silenced him. The timing is impeccable. There is no conspiracy theory. There's no coincidence here. That timing is impeccable.
I mean, you can't look at the writing on the wall. Everything that's like the timing of everything, the investment of the money from BlackRock. You've got the election season coming up. They can say this, the Dominion payout, the $800 million or whatever they're gonna have to pay out for that. But how much money have they paid out for other? I mean, I haven't looked into it, but I'm gonna guess that Fox News and CNN and everybody else pays out money out the ass all the time. How much money did CNN pay out to Sandman guy for the defamations for Kyle Rittenhouse? How much money? It's all settled outside of court. This is one of the only ones that you hear that they're settling. You actually know the number, but how much money has all these other places paid out the ass? So you can say it's this, or you can say it's whatever these rumors of what this female is. But you've got all the stuff with Don Lemon for 17 years at CNN. The documented history with him, and he stayed there for 17 years. So like the problem is we're asking very logical questions, and they don't have logical answers for it. They're trying to spin the answers to get the narrative to what they're wanting. And if they can't spin it, they'll shut you up. They'll pull you off the news. So now like humans were just lazy in general and just by nature. So you've got this populace that tunes into CNN and all this other stuff and MSNBC and ABC, and they tune into only that stuff. Now you've got the one place that had some counter argument. He's not going to give any counter argument. They're not going to give any counter argument anymore because now the sponsor money is there, and they're going to be able to go back into this segment brought to you by Pfizer. This segment's brought to you by Moderna. This segment's brought to you by whoever is sponsoring the next thing that we're going to roll out.
So much trash about the vaccine too.
Yeah. And it's not that he talked. He asked.
Well, he asked questions. Right.
That's all he did. And today, in today's age, you can ask a question and be called a conspiracy theorist. But
you can ask a question and be racist. Like you can't even ask questions about ideologies without they'd be like, "What do you mean? You don't know the answer to that? Racist."
So that's when you just look at them in the face. So there's no win. I can't do what you want here. I can't do what you want here. No matter what I do, I'm screwed. So if no matter what we're going to do, we're screwed. I'd say just keep watching, listening to Tucker, find out what he's going to do next, because I guarantee he's got some skeletons in the closet. I guarantee he can air out some dirty laundry.
Drew Breezy says he vehemently disagrees with Tucker's take on Uvalde still to this day. I still agree with a lot of what he points out. He was the voice of the common man. Sure, dude. I disagreed with every single person on the Uvalde take, everybody. But if and I've said this 1,000 times to 1,000 friends, but if you cut out everybody that you disagree with or everybody that pisses you off in every moment, you will have zero friends your whole life. I don't have a whole lot of enemies because I don't allow people to become my enemies. They choose for me to be their enemy. I don't choose them to be my enemy. People quit on me. I don't really quit on people. People might get tired of me and they'll write me out, but I don't write anybody else off. I don't write off, even that guy from whatever, I can't even remember his name. That's how much Fieldcraft Survival, of course, I did not like what he had to say. And And I don't remember like why his fans came after for us. I really don't know. But still to this day, I don't talk trash about that guy. I don't dislike that guy. If that guy wanted to come on the show today, come on. If you wanted to go have a beer, go have a beer. I don't care. Just because I disagree with you or just because I think you're wrong, it doesn't mean that I hate you. And just because I think you do something that's stupid, you know, I mean, I could say, you know, listen, I tell my friends all the time, you know, you're cheating on your wife. I think that's the dumbest thing in the world. I think that's fucking sleazy. I think it's a scumbag. Am I still your friend? Sure. But I think what you're doing is a scumbag thing to do, man. And, you know, we just move on from it. So, you know, do I believe everything that Tucker Carlson ever said? No, honestly, I didn't really listen to Tucker Carlson all that much. It was hard not to here at the end because he was all over TikTok. His TikTok presence was massive, which is another reason why they want to get rid of TikTok, because TikTok has really become a place for weird and oddity news. Guys like me, I just got sucked in. I'm still sucked in to TikTok, learning a bunch of stuff. Just today, I learned about, don't know if it's true. Haven't fact checked it yet, but I'm really excited to do it this afternoon. But there's a Swedish study out right now that's showing that in fact, the mRNA vaccine is manipulating DNA as we speak. The people's DNA is being manipulated by this mRNA. I have no idea if that's true. I have no idea. But because it was brought up on TikTok, I am going to deep dive the shit out of it and look into it because it's out there. But, you know, here's my Tucker Carlson prediction. Here we go. You ready for this?
Go.
They are going to spend the next 18 months, probably not even 18 months. They're going to spend the next month, 2 months discrediting everything. They're going to come out already. Politico has already started. They said that that they're posting stuff that crazy thought, but maybe it's time to face some consequences after blatantly lying to millions of Americans and after actively eroding democracy for years. Representative Seth Moulton from Massachusetts. They posted this quote from Representative Bill Pascal. Now these are all Democrats. A sewer of countless lies and hate spewed, but they're just giving lots and lots of hate. They're going to discredit the crap out of Tucker Carlson. They're going to make him look like a fool. There's probably going to be some weird lawsuits come up. There's already one that's kind of that there's a harassment. It's not sexual harassment, but it's harassment and hostile work environment. Now, listen, I was a police officer. Obviously, all of us were police officers. I can name a handful of just bozos that took out hostile work environment things. And there was no real hostile work environment in Raleigh. You either had thick skin or you're a pussy. That was it. If you don't like the banter in the fucking locker room, how about you just don't lose the foot chase? And, you know, if you lose a foot chase, how about you do what I did? Just don't go to the locker room after shift. Stay out. You know you're going to get shit on. You know people are going to make fun of you. You know you have ghosts. If you're not in the mood for the jokes, then don't go. Don't whine and be a little bitch and claim a hostile work environment. So I don't really take a lot of stake in harassment and hostile work environments. Leaders are going to lead, and not everybody has that great leadership style. I mean, if some people don't like it, I mean, honest to God, the way I treat my bar manager, if I treated another bar manager that way, it might completely offend them. But if I go to my bar manager and I say the tables weren't wiped down and you're wearing a Jack Daniels t-shirt, she's going to be in a real bad mood the rest of the day. But if I come in and be like, yo, you couldn't wipe down those fucking tables? Are you joking me? Are you wearing a Jack Daniels shirt? You take your ass, you go right over there to that rack and you grab you a brand new Instill shirt and you change that shirt right now. And then I'm going to go wipe the tables since you forgot to do it. And she'll laugh and she'll think that's funny and she'll change her shirt and she'll respond very well to that. Now, other bar managers might be like, you condescending asshole. I don't appreciate you embarrassing me. It might be embarrassing to them. They might rather go, hey, wipe the tables and change your shirt. But I know that she doesn't, you know, but I'm only going to lead one way. And I only hire people that want to take the way I want to lead. So if Tucker Carlson, you know, gets mad at somebody for not having proper notes. Do you remember the time that you and I, you know, when I first brought you on to Failure to Stop and your job was just a fact check and we were getting ready for a show and everything that I asked about fact checking, you said that there was no source. Sorry, the source is anonymous. Sorry, the source is anonymous. Sorry, can't validate that. Couldn't get the source. You remember how mad I was? But I wasn't mad at you. I was mad that there was no sources, but I went on a big rant that day. Now, you could have taken that personally and be like, well, I don't need this. That's harassment. I don't need you to embarrass me in front of everybody and say that I'm doing a bad job. I never said you did a bad job. You do a great job. It's not your fault that there isn't any sources, but you get where I'm coming from, right? Like, hostile work environment claims mean nothing to me.
Because they're meant, like the way that they're designed for is to help people if there is, like, if you have a situation where you have a supervisor that's just riding your shit no matter what. But if are they riding your shit, or did you show up to work late? Did you show up to work late today? Did you fuck up this report? Did you not dot the I's on this? Hey, you're missing a fingerprint card on this case. Hey, you didn't do rights advisement at all on this guy. None of what he says is going to be able to miss it in court. So we got to throw it. Like, are you a piece of shit? Like, there's a difference between a substandard employee and not making the cut in a hostile work environment.
They do there was a Raleigh officer. It was snowing outside, and he called the media. And pre-planned and hosted a timed snowball fight, and had the media come out there and videotape his snowball fight to make him look like he's like some kind of super community cop. And we all knew that the department was pissed, because we all knew that he contacted the news media and he set this up. It wasn't that somebody caught him on camera and it went viral. He set it up because he wanted to be viral. He's since left the police department, but he filed one of these hostile work environment things because we all hung up a picture of him, or I didn't do it. I don't know who did it, but every department, every sub precinct had a picture of this dude, like on every door above every urinal with his picture and a fake gold medal that said me all around the medal. Because they wanted to shame him for being so dumb, but he made some kind of suit about it, that's a hostile work environment, and he won, and then he left the department. Joke's on us because I think he got a payday and got out on time. But what my prediction is that they're gonna make him look like a fool. Already they're coming up with this harassment and hostile work, but trying to make him look like he was a Don Lemon kind of guy. There's stuff coming out right now about his past, how he was a drunk all through college, but he says that on podcasts. Fuck, dude, I was a drunk when I was in the military. I mean, I was the type of dude that would, start drinking at 9:00 at night, stop drinking at 4:00 in the morning, and be at a unit run at 6 a.m. I mean, that's what I fell into at 23, 24 years old. I don't do that now, but to answer Dom's prediction is that they're going to discredit Tucker Carlson, make him look like a piece of crap. And then because they know that he's going to be bigger than them when he goes and starts doing private podcasts and stuff. They did the same thing to Joe Rogan when they tried to scare Joe Rogan. When they dropped all this N-word stuff and they really tried to discredit Joe Rogan. I just think that Joe Rogan is so much smarter than the mainstream media, and he does everything the right way. I don't think it really, really helped him.
He's the biggest thing with Tucker and Joe both is they're open. They're transparent. That's the biggest difference between them and anybody else. If they fuck up, they're going to let you know, hey, we need to fall on the sword in this one, guys. We got it wrong. And here's the correction. Here's where we got it wrong. And here's the correct information. You don't see anybody else doing corrections.
Right.
Nobody. It's just crickets. You don't see any one of those 51 intelligence people that said all that stuff about the Biden laptop being Russian disinformation. Who's questioning those 51 people? Because we know it's true. So were they lying? What information did they have that said that it was like, you want me to start questioning Tucker, but you can't be transparent on anything else. You want to be transparent on the Epstein list? We convicted someone for how many counts? Epstein, he killed himself or murdered or whatever, but Ghislaine, she's in prison. There's a list. Yeah. There are clients. Did she traffic them to herself? So why are we not going after all these other people? The guy that's talking about all of this shit, that's the one we're going to silence. The biggest thing is like when you look at the stock, or you look at Bud Light, or look at any of these things, like the last couple months, anytime any one of these companies or someone does something stupid like this, it starts to hit them in the pocketbook.
Right.
And the one
but
thing
you think they were smarter, right? You would think that they were smarter than that. Do you think this is going to be a Bud Light move for Fox News? Do you see that their stock just absolutely crashing from this? Or is that the plan?
Because here's my big future thought. I wonder how many executives in the last couple weeks from Fox News and CNN, both because the Don Lemon guy getting fired. I wonder how many executives sold stock. I wonder how many people in the company sold stock before they made these moves. Because my bigger thought is these companies are collapsing.
Well,
News
BlackRock
media
is doing the most shady shit. BlackRock,
Yep.
which we know is one of the most shady corporations of all time.
Yep.
Of all time. And if they own the media, then they can continue to do shady stuff. Listen, Tim Kennedy talked about, I love what Tim Kennedy's doing right now, exposing how many American-owned meat plants have caught on fire in the last 9 months. Like a plane crashed into one too. All sorts of just weird stuff. And he went on a podcast. You guys can look it up and go follow Tim Kennedy on his social media. But he's exposing all this stuff. That's all part of BlackRock. Like BlackRock's all into all this land ownership, these chicken farm stuff, and the fact that they are now one of the bigger owners of Fox News, man, that's some scary stuff. So, like I said, my Tanstradamus prediction is that's what we're going to see here. I think the one thing that Fox News hasn't accounted for yet is I think there's going to be a mass exodus, which of course might be part of the plan. Maybe they did foresee this happening, and they need Fox News to go away. They need Fox News to follow suit with CNN. It's not about the numbers. It's really not about the numbers. It's about we need to brainwash the people who are still watching mainstream media. We don't need people that are still watching mainstream media to question it. The people that are questioning mainstream media, the only thing that they're tuning into is Tucker Carlson. And then the people that are 100% all in mainstream media are now being convinced by people like Tucker Carlson to not trust mainstream media. So what they need to do is save what they have left, which is those sheep that are hook, line, and sinker. They keep mainstream media on their news, on their TV screens, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They need to keep the blinders on. So let's just keep them, because right now we're losing them. And I think that might be part of it too.
Yeah. I don't know that when you're moving and when you're playing chess, you're always like, if the move that you make is the beginning of 4 or 5 moves ahead, you're always thinking 5, 6, 7 moves ahead. And even then it tears off. Your thought process has, if you do this, I'm going to do this. If you do this, I'm going to do this. If you do this, I'm going to no one woke up and said, hey, let's fire this guy. There was thought put to someone made a decision. This is a decision we're going to make, and we're going to roll with it. And all right.
But we talk about like all the media leaks and everything. Isn't it crazy how stuff like this, that there is no leak? Like when you have something as crazy as a search warrant in Mar-a-Lago, or something as crazy as an indictment, it's so convenient how there's a leak, but when you have something like this, there's no leak. You know what I mean? It goes all flawlessly, and it all happens for the left. It's like the left is in control. The left has power, whether you like it or not. Again, I'm not like some kind of staunch right-wing conservative either, guys. But I do see that there is literally one side that's acting more like, both sides tend to, take away freedoms. And listen, I'm probably more like on a libertarian ground if I had to choose. But there's, really who's trying to silence who? The people that are silencing the most is the left at this point. And, that's why that guest that I had on Patreon, Antoine Thomas with Real Talk, that's why he flipped from Democrat to Republican or to conservative. I mean, he's part of the Brexit movement. I mean, he's running for sheriff. He works with Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum. But he said he woke up one day and he realized like all the lies that are being told to me are brought to me by the left, and the conservatives are the only ones that are actually trying to give me more freedom and protect my freedom. And we had a great conversation over cigars. But if you haven't listened to that episode on Patreon, you paid YouTube user, you paid YouTube members were able to see it yesterday. And your Patreon guys can go listen to that. It was just absolutely phenomenal episode. Let's go ahead and switch gears to this Taliban ISIS-K leader who was killed. but we still don't have a name. Listen, this is 100% on the propaganda train, and I want to expose it, or at least I want to have the conversation about the exposing of it. But first, right now, if you head over to ghostbed.com/wolfpack, there is a 50% off of all bundles, and you can unlock an extra 10% off your order if you go there right now, enter your email address, and get it done. It's 50% off of all bundles, baby. So you can bundle it all together, or 35% off of all of your mattresses and luxury pillows. You can get 35% off of 2 free luxury pillows. And I'm telling you, if you can't afford a ghost bed all the way, the pillow alone will change your life. Those cooling sheets, and I'm not just joking on this. Actually, right now, it just popped up. I'm on the site, Failure to Stop, on ghostbed.com/wolfpack. 35% off of every single mattress. 40%. No, it popped up 40% off of site-wide right now. 40% off site-wide. 50% off if you throw in your little email address. So get ready for Mother's Day. Get that Mother's Day gift that's going to get you Liz Aid. And that's putting the old lady on a ghost bed. Put mama down on a ghost bed. Let mama die in peace on a ghost bed. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. This Taliban kills ISIS-K. Funny thing is that I've looked up several tabs today. The tab that literally has the most ads popping up and won't stop is this article. It's that way on ABC. It's that way on NBC. It's on that way on CNN. It's on that way on Fox. This is the only article in the news right now that is just overloaded with ads. That means they don't want you to read this. I don't know why. Why even put it in the news then? But a terrorist that allegedly was responsible for the August 2021 bombing at Kabul, Afghanistan airport that killed 13 U.S. service members and at least 160 Afghans after Joe Biden's absolute dismal performance in a pullout. More mistakes were made that day in that week than probably any president's ever done combined. I can't think of a more disgusting. This is worse than Benghazi. This is the Benghazi level mistake right here. That cost the lives of 13 U.S. service members and 160 Afghans. This guy was himself killed by Taliban fighters last week. They finally break out. A senior Biden administration official on Tuesday described the deceased leader of the Islamic State group's Afghanistan affiliate, also known as ISIS-K, or the Islamic State of Khorasan, as the mastermind of the attack, but they won't give his name, which involved a suicide bomber detonating an explosive device from within the dense crowds desperately trying to enter the Abbey Gate of the Ahmad Karzai International Airport during the chaotic U.S. withdrawal. We have become aware in recent weeks that the ISIS-K terrorist most responsible for the horrific attack of August 26, 2021, has now been killed in a Taliban operation. This guy was killed in a Taliban operation. Are we funding the Taliban again? The Taliban are friends again? The U.S. did not coordinate with the Taliban in the killing of ISIS-K leader, according to the officials. We did not conduct this operation directly with the Taliban. By the way, this comes from ABC News. We are now partnering with the Taliban. Oh, no, we are not partnering with the Taliban. I'm glad I caught that. We are not partnering with the Taliban, but we do think the outcome is a significant one, the official said, adding that the U.S. did not learn of the killing from the Taliban. They learned about it from somebody else. The Taliban, which has been in control of Afghanistan's government since 2021, is opposed to ISIS-K. But here's the funny thing. There's no picture of this guy. There's no name for this guy. So as far as I'm concerned, why is this even, how is this even plausible? I mean, like, how is this even credible news?
This is like me saying right now, Los Angeles police are reporting that the largest gang in Los Angeles, the leader has been killed. But we're not going to tell you what the gang is, and we're not going to tell you what the leader is, and we're not going to do anything else with it. We're not going to give you any information on the source. This is just blowing smoke up someone's ass to blow smoke up someone's ass. Like,
this is just pure propaganda. It's like, but why even put it out? And then if you're going to put ads all over the site to where you can't even look at it, at the story, why even put the story out there?
Like, we have all this information. We know where it was. We know that the Taliban was involved. We know that we weren't involved with it. So what's the Taliban operation? Were they raiding, like, looking for journalists, or were they raiding looking for Afghans that were helping the Americans? Because that's a Taliban operation that they are doing. Was he killed in one of those? Was that because I mean, So sad, too bad. But, hey, good on you. But we don't know the name. We have all these intelligence people that are willing to drop. We know what fucking pair of underwear Trump's going to wear tomorrow. Yeah. We've got a leak on that, but we don't know a leader that planned a suicide bomb that killed like, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit.
David J brings up a good point. He says, what if it's a psyop to draw him out? I mean, maybe. I don't know that this guy's tuning into, I don't know, man. Like, getting American news over there is not the easiest thing in the world to do.
I have a buddy that's
I don't know how much this guy would have access to unless he's like in Pakistan or something.
I have a buddy that's on the JTTF, and I'll text him and see if he knows anything that he can.
Well, dude, I text messaged a buddy of mine who's a Navy SEAL at the beginning of the episode. He just texted me back that he hasn't seen anything about it, but he'll check it out. I also texted a Green Beret and asked him about it, and he hasn't responded to me yet. So I mean, I don't know. But I mean, it's just a silly, it's silly to make it on headline news. It was headline news this morning when I woke up. And then they just completely pack it down with ads. If you don't believe me, just go and type in ISIS K killer, bring it up, and just watch how many ads pop up. It's ridiculous. But I don't really buy it. I mean, again, how is that news? If you don't even know the ISIS K leader's name, how do we know he's dead? If we don't even have a picture of the dude, how do we know he's dead? Like, is the Taliban just calling you up and saying like, hey, that dude that killed 13 people, we killed him. Didn't get his name, didn't get a picture, didn't get any fingerprints or any other evidence that says he's dead, but just take it from us, the Taliban. You can trust us now. You can trust us. We're kind of like Whoopi Goldberg on The View. But he's dead. Just take our word for it, homies.
We killed Osama bin Laden within 30 minutes. The globe knew. The entire globe knew. We had his name, his picture was up. This person was involved, and over 170 people were killed. You don't think that we're going to put that motherfucker's face on the news like that? This is who did it, and we got him. So now you can sleep a little bit safer at night knowing that this person didn't do it. But this is just a blank hand. That's all it is. You can wipe your ass with it. You can do nothing. I mean, there's nothing you can do with it. It's propaganda. It's what it is we're talking about this. We're not talking about the Tucker stuff. We're not talking about all the other stuff that's in the news that we're not supposed to be talking about.
Right. Listen, guys, there's a record number of people in the live chats, record number of paid subscribers in the live chats for Last Call. And I couldn't be more thankful for that, guys. Thank you so much. And we're asking for the peasants who are just listening for free on Thursday. Listen, continue to listen for free. We love that. But leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes or Spotify, please. It really helps us go a long way. We're not asking for your money. Although if you want to give us your money, we'll try to make it worth it, as we have on Patreon. If you guys haven't seen how much we've stepped up the Patreon and the paid YouTube account, we have brought you in the last 2 weeks that we have really started our paid membership campaigns. We have brought absolute thunder. Last Friday's show was incredible. Let's jump over to Joe Biden, who just announced that he is running in 2024. No big surprise there. What's more surprising is just what all the mainstream media robots are saying about it. They're really praising that the nation's oldest serving president is seeking re-election. I don't know that that's something we should be boastful about, because it doesn't really give old people in their late 80s a good look. So I saw Joe Biden on an episode of Parks and Recreation when he acted for the ending episodes of Parks and Rec, and 100 night and day difference. And that was filmed in 2016, I believe, or 2014. It leaps and bounds a different human being back then. He was an actor. He was articulate. He had a real smile. He's not that guy, guys. He's not that guy right now. That's not the same guy. And if you think it is, I'm so sorry. But listen, sometimes you got to know, right? Like, sometimes I run into other people's grandparents and I'm like, there's something wrong with grandpa, right? Like, that grandpa shouldn't be having outbursts like that. There's something that you guys might want to check out. Nobody wants to admit that. I empathize with that. Nobody wants to know that their granddaddy is suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's and the whole 9 yards. But this guy, dude, this guy is dwindling quickly. I don't know that we should be bragging about that.
Well, when in our nation's history has the party said, okay, well, we're going to run again, but we're not going to do any debates with anybody about anything ever. So this is the guy that the people chose, but we're not going to let any of the people debate it.
Right.
Like,
is that what he's saying? Is that what he's saying? He's not going to do any debates?
The Democrats are saying there are going to be no 2024 presidential debates.
How does that work?
I mean, how do you rate a former president?
Listen, they are going to have to hire Don King. That was the promoter, right?
Yep. The guy with the big hair. Yep.
They're going to have to promote whoever is in the corner of Conor McGregor. There's no way this dude is the hype man. They are going to have who's the guy that used to wear the big giant clock?
Flavor Flav.
They're going to have Flavor. They're going to have to give somebody, because I don't see where there's any energy. To run a campaign, there's got to be energy, baby. You got to have some momentum. You got to have some, like that make America great again kind of spirit, to win these kind of elections. When he went up against Donald Trump, I mean, he listen, they had to match some energy, and the only energy that they had to match him was, all this bonkers BLM stuff. I still don't believe that he beat Donald Trump. Like, come on. There's no way that Joe Biden got more votes than Obama. I just don't see that happen. I don't see, more Black and Hispanic and people of color giving two shits about this guy. I don't see it. I don't know. I need to see some more evidence. I don't know. I have a hunch, right? I have a hunch, but
because here's the thing with the evidence. Like, if it is true, all right, show me the receipts. If not, then you have created doubt. If you're not going to show the receipts, all right, then don't expect me to believe it.
Yeah. How does this, I mean, I don't see any energy. I don't see this guy living to 2024, frankly. I mean, every day I wake up and I'm like, is he still alive? I don't wish death upon him. Listen, I don't. I really don't wish death upon any of. I don't like them, but I don't want them to die.
That's the leader. That is the representation of the leadership of the greatest nation on the face of this earth.
I mean, I'm just saying. Listen, sometimes I'm surprised when there's a lot of people in my life. I'm surprised they're still alive when I wake up, and there's a lot of people in my life that I would not be surprised if they died due to their habits or their the physical health. Right. He's one of those guys that's on my list of like, damn, dude, this guy is going downhill pretty quickly. I don't know, man. I think it's really funny that, he says that, let's see, he gave that 3-minute speech, whatever. Many Democratic, this is from Politico, many Democratic strategists and activists give the Biden administration high marks for stabilizing the economy, following the pandemic shutdowns, passing bipartisan infrastructure legislation, and nominating Ketanji Brown Jackson as the first Black woman at the Supreme Court. Great.
That was going to be my next thing. If you go to a debate,
people are falling for any of that?
What are the positive talking points that you have for him? We aren't officially in World War III yet.
Right.
Asterisk. Like what
that's
he got
crazy. They're not
going
to do debates, though. That's crazy. I mean, don't you think that's how I know their elections are rigged. Like, this guy's not going to lose. Doesn't matter who he goes up against. He's not going to lose. The establishment's not going to lose. Period.
Because we don't have debates. We don't have anything like that. And then you start locking anybody up that questions it. You start kicking them off that they have no platform to talk on anymore. So you get rid of people that are going to question like Tucker.
Who got arrested? Who's been arrested in the last few months and from where for speaking just exactly how we're speaking on the social media webs? Who is actually in prison?
There was in the United States, there was the guy for the memes here in the United States. But I'm going to give you two different numbers.
Which is crazy, by the way. We covered that story. Crazy. Quick, just for the record number of listeners that we have right now in the live chat. What the meme guy, what was his What he got arrested for putting up the most ridiculous meme ever, which said
so he was arrested
to text your vote for Hillary Clinton.
And they said that was election interference. But
and they charged him. They gave him 7 years, 5 years?
I think it's 10 years suspended or something like that.
10 years, Jesus. But keep going. We've got this is real numbers here. This is people that are sitting in jail right now for free speech.
So this goes back to 2015. So there's this comedian podcaster from Russia who made this claim, and that nobody could really people have been trying to back it up for the past couple of days. Well, I did some digging. So his claim is he's gonna say that there are over 3,000 people been arrested in one country, where there have been close to 50 or so in another. So I'll go back and I'll give you actual no bullshit numbers. 857 in 2015 versus 54. Okay. There were 857 people arrested and imprisoned for things that they said, offensive things said on Twitter and Facebook.
And which country? I'm guessing
that is in the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom.
Russia is 54.
800. Russia's 54. Well,
in 2015,
really gonna give their numbers.
This is Associated Press from 2016, May 31st, 2016. Associated Press is reporting at least 54 people were sent to prison for hate speech last year, which would be 2015. Most of them for posting things online, which is about 5 times as many 5 years ago, according to Moscow-based Sova Group, which studies human rights.
So although this news is old, we're now kind of catching up to the UK.
Well, because what we're saying is the countries that are censoring, and we want to say Russia is so bad because Russia is censoring this, and they close this down. You can't talk about this, and they'll lock up this U.S. that guy that may be a spy, or will lock up this basketball chick for bringing weed. Russia's so bad.
The UK has done over 800.
8 in the same time frame.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I'm looking from the register is for the UK numbers. I'm pulling from the register, and then from the Russian numbers, I'm pulling from the AP. But it was a comedian that's claiming there was over 3,300 people arrested in Russia, and there was only a couple hundred arrested in UK versus only a couple hundred in Russia. It's what the claim that's going Crowder. It was on Crowder or something like that. But no one could get the actual numbers. But those are actual numbers. That was sort of 2015. So we're almost to 2025. So almost a little over 10 years ago, there was nearly 1,000 people in the UK that were arrested versus 50 in Russia.
Mm.
And Russia's the evil person.
Now, what kind of shit were they arrested for? Were they death threats or something?
Offensive, in quotes, sending offensive messages via social media.
Offensive messages, so not harassing messages, not.
Now, if I send you a text message, I'm going to beat your face in. That would be that would be something I would say.
But that wouldn't be offensive.
Yep. But if I said that your face looks like someone needs to beat it up, that might be offensive. But what's offensive? Offensive is subjective. I have very thick skin. People.
Well, let me tell you who's offended in Texas right now.
Ooh.
You ready for this? This article right here, Texas state agencies orders workers to dress consistent to their biological gender. Bum, bum, bum. This is an article coming from The Guardian. Texas state agency told its employees this month that they must dress in a manner that is consistent with their biological gender. This article goes on to say Western business attire is appropriate, and it lays out acceptable business casual items. Quote, for men, business attire includes a long sleeve dress shirt, tie, and sport coat worn with trousers and dress shoes or boots. For women, business attire includes tailored pantsuits, business-like dresses, coordinated dressy separates worn with or without a blazer, and conservative closed-toe shoes or boots. This is what this state agency says that their dress code is. And look, I get it, man. If you're at Hooters, they don't want you going to Hooters wearing non-cleavage showing, jeans and pants. If you want to work at Hooters, you got to dress like a whore. I'm sorry. If you don't want to dress like a whore, don't work at Hooters. And we're fine that uniform, with that. We're cool with that.
Isn't it issued? You have an issued uniform to wear?
Yeah, so if they're saying if you want to work for a State Department, you got to dress like a cowboy or a cowgirl, well, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'm sorry if your modern day whore wants to wear jeans. I mean, that doesn't exist. That's not the whore look that Hooters is going for.
Did Raleigh have a uniform and appearance policy?
Who?
Did Raleigh Police Department have a uniform and appearance policy?
Yeah, of course. If you had tattoos on your arms, you had to wear long sleeve shirts and everything. Yeah, of course, you had to wear your tie, button up. If you're wearing the long sleeves, you had to button your shirt. You had to shine your boots. I mean, the rules are going to be rules, but I think it's, a lot of people are in an uproar about this. And again, it goes back to wording, right? But it says it prohibits women from wearing clothing that allows excessive cleavage. Okay, great. There's fine with that. I don't believe that. Listen, I run a bar. So I want my bar managers to feel like if they want to make money and they think that showing a little cleavage is going to make them more money and that's okay with them morally and ethically, then I allow them to do that. If they don't want to use their cleavage to sell and they want to wear button-up shirts and everything, like they can do that. I don't really put a dress code because I work at a bar. But now, listen, I own something like my C- media studios. I do have a rule. I don't want you, if you're working for C- media, you're not coming into my workspace wearing flip-flops or no shoes on. Simple rule. You can wear shorts, you can wear a t-shirt, whatever, but I want closed-toed shoes in my workspace. It's my workspace. It's my company. If you come through the doors of C- Studios to work, all I ask is that you have some tennis shoes on. Also, same with a plane. I don't want you in Crocs on the airplane. I don't want you in flip-flops on the airplane. I think there's just some times that you actually have to wear real shoes. And when you come to work, you should wear real shoes. And I don't need to have a reason why. It's my company. I own it. I want you to wear fucking shoes. You don't wear flip-flops.
Sanitary issues.
All right. And they say in this way, listen, I loved going to court and there was a lawyer that wore Crocs. If a lawyer was wearing Crocs, I did not make a plea deal, period. My rule in my brain, if you're wearing Crocs, flip-flops, or some kind of bullshit sandals, I don't care if you're pregnant or not. There was a pregnant woman who wore these obnoxious tie-dye Crocs because she could get away with it because she's pregnant. Listen, if that's the stance you want to take and you want all eyes to be on you in the courtroom, by all means, let's do it. I'm going to trial. There will not be a misdemeanor charge that I will drop in your presence while you're wearing those bullshit shoes. Same with a flamboyant tie. If you're wearing a sports tie with your little sports team on it, or you're wearing some kind of non-masculine style tie and you're going to trial and you're representing somebody, I'm going to trial with you all the time. If you're a lawyer, and if I hire you as my lawyer and we're going to battle together in the courtroom, that's for my freedom, or for my pocket, for the money that I've earned that I'm about to lose, and I'm representing you to fight for it, bitch, you better be wearing a power tie. You better look like a fucking intimidating, toxic man. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, or American, but you better be toxic as fuck, because I want a winner in my circle. I don't want some kind of sissy boy representing me in court. That's just me, period. I don't want that. I don't mind if you want to be a sissy and cut my hair, you want to be a sissy and cook me a steak, you want to be a sissy and smoke cigars with me, that's fine. I don't care. Being a sissy doesn't bother me. But if we're going to battle together, I don't want to go to war with no sissies, man.
The article says that there are more anti-transgender legislation filed in Texas this year than any other state, according to a tally by Axios. So what in this is anti-transgender? Nothing that says anti-transgender. It says you will dress like this if you're going to work in this workplace. Yeah. So if you're a surgeon,
I think what's anti-trans about this is that he says that Texas state agency orders workers to dress, quote, consistent to their biological gender.
There's California. There's plenty of jobs in California here.
Yeah. But, obviously something came up where somebody was trying to, listen, like Dylan Mulvaney's, I wouldn't have a Dylan Mulvaney in my workspace. And not because of his transgender shit per se. It's because of his flamboyant attitude. I think it's very unprofessional. And I personally believe that it's demeaning to women. That's not how women act that I've ever seen act. So for him to be representing women in some kind of way, I think it's disgusting, and I wouldn't want him in my workspace.
I've never in my life thought of myself as like a feminist, but with all of this, I've become a feminist. Like,
yeah, pro-women. I want women to win.
My wife. My wife she's about to walk next month and get her PhD. She's worked her ass off for that. To have someone else come in and say that she can't do that because whatever. No, you're not going to. She is a woman and worked her ass off. Like women are amazing creatures. Not only that, here, I'll pull up a stat. The current world population is 8,025,718,113. And of that, people born from women are 8,025,718,113, and 0 born from men. Feel free to fact check that. That is a direct quote. Like, you can do you. If you want to do you, be happy, do you. But if you're going to be in a public space, if you're in a workspace, this is the state of Texas. The state of Texas is saying if you want to represent the state of Texas, you're not going to dress like this. If you want to do that, you can go do that in your own time. But if you're going to be on the clock and you're going to be with the state of Texas, it's not
dress appropriately. Listen, now so many people are blowing me up I'm not anti-Crocs, guys. I own Crocs. About to buy another pair, actually. I love Crocs. Love them around my yard. Love them around the house. I like going to the grocery in Crocs. I got no qualms with that. You don't go to work in Crocs. I also like to wear Ranger panties. You don't go to work in Ranger panties. You want to walk around the yard? Go to the local grocery? Go to the local grocery. You want to wear your Crocs and your silkies? By all means. When you're off, baby, you're off. Do it. But when you're getting on an airplane, you're getting on the train, you're going to work, come on, man. Have some discipline. Have some self-respect. Have a little Ron Swanson. We need a little bit more Ron Swanson like attitudes. You wear you a nice pair of jeans, tuck in a nice shirt, and wear a nice belt, and have some pride in yourself, man. Listen, somebody else said this about PhD. Maybe you wear Crocs. You got listen. If you're smart as fuck and you're the most successful thing in the world, then go wear your Crocs where you want, because you've earned it. But if you ain't that, don't try to be that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like if you work in support and you're like an electrician and you go to combat, don't shave a mohawk. Don't shave a mohawk. You ain't infantry, babe. But if you're on the front lines and you're killing Nazis, you know what I mean? You're laying them down, then shave yourself a mohawk. But until you're that, let's not play that game. Bone Cold Fleas Austin says, I can't wear Crocs at work. They don't make them as a work boot. Yeah, good. Great. Wear work boots, man. I like it. Listen, I'm a sissiest could be. I got the sissiest job on the planet right now. I'm podcasting for a living. That's literally what I do for them. My kids eat and sleep, and my house is paid for solely on podcasting, not my distillery. That money, I don't take that money. I put that money back into the business. I still show up every day in tennis shoes and socks. I don't show up in here in flip-floppies, no fucking Crockies. And I'm the only one here. Nobody's going to see me. Hey, listen, though, I'll tell you this, though. Today I had Crocs on this morning while I was talking on the phone to Drew Breezy. I was late to getting in here to the studio. I almost said, fuck it, got in my truck and just came here in Crockies. Nope. I was like, I'm not doing that. I got to have some discipline. I ran back upstairs, found some socks, put some socks on. You got to do it right. All right, last story of the day before we get out of here. I bet you had no idea. More than a whole bunch of Wendy's customers right now, thanks to TikTok and social medias and Reddit and all these things that they do, are losing their minds over the Wendy's logo. I didn't know this either. Did you know that Wendy's logo has capital and not capital letters? The W and the E are capital. The N is not capital. The D is capital. The Y is capital. The S is not capital. Not a lot of people knew that. I had no clue. Didn't know what that meant, but people just realized it now, and people are losing their shit about it, as they should, because I'm like, why? I mean, did they do it for just like, just to make it look good? So it all fit in one line, but
like, I'm not a design person like John, and my wife does like paintings and stuff too. So I'm not like that artsy, but when I do like the 3D design, like I'll do stuff in there that only I will know and wait to see if someone will see it. Like sometimes. So maybe like there was some 90-year-old guys like, hey, I made that logo, and they just figured that out. Took 90 years. Yeah, that's really good job.
David J, you're wrong. The Y is actually capital 2. It's W-E lowercase W. W-E lowercase N, uppercase D, uppercase Y, lowercase S. So if you're gonna type it in the chat, you gotta type it right. Wow, Bone Cold Fleas Austin says he hasn't ate at Wendy's in almost a decade. Wendy's is my favorite. Wendy's and Hardee's are my go-to. I mean,
So
Chick-fil-A is my number one faves, but they don't have burgers at Chick-fil-A. Wendy's has a great spicy chicken sandwich, phenomenal burgers. Hardee's has the best burgers, but Wendy's close second on the burger.
Do you ever eat the Wendy's chili?
Yeah.
So do you want me to ruin it for you?
Sure.
So I briefly worked at Wendy's when I was in high school.
Wait, before you ruin it for me, one of my favorite things to do when it's balls cold outside when I was younger, because it was like $3 total. And I would do this after I was surfing, especially in the cold. So I'd get really, really cold in my wetsuit surfing, change into regular clothes, just go right over to the Wendy's, get a hot loaded baked potato, a cup of chili. It's like $3 total.
So this was over 2 decades ago. So I don't know if they still do it, but back then what we would do is your hamburger meat was set in the warmer after you cook it, because you cook so many of them and then you put them in the warmer and then you use them. So after a while, that warmer has a timer on, and if you don't use that meat after so long, you can't use it. But they don't want to throw the hamburger meat away, so it just gets thrown in the back. All of today's leftover hanger meat becomes tomorrow's chili meat.
So that doesn't ruin it.
But that's hamburger meat just set for an entire day.
Fucking who cares as long as it's cooked.
Yeah. I don't know.
See, I think spaghetti tastes way better the next day. I think chili tastes way better the next day.
I'm a big
fettuccine chicken Alfredo tastes better the next day. I'm almost to the point now where I'll tell my wife to make chicken Alfredo the night before for dinner the next day, because chicken, just the flavors melt so much better overnight. Same with spaghetti. I like it like that too. So
when we do this for the call to action, we'll
what
put
about fried rice? Fried rice, to make fried rice, you got to have old rice.
Pizza. I don't. There's some pizza that tastes better when it's fresh, and there's some pizza that tastes better like the second or third day after.
True. Big Cheese Pizza tastes good the day that you get it. That's a brand around here called Big Cheese Pizza. It tastes good fresh. I don't like it the next day. But I like Venero's pizza the next day. I'm a huge Wendy's fan, man. I'm sorry. Dipping my French fries in the Frosties, game changer.
Oh
man.
yeah.
If you're not doing that, do you even America? Yeah. True Breezy says fries plus Frosty equals paradise. Yeah, it's really heaven in your mouth. It really is. What's your call to action? What do you want to have a call to action?
We did the Frosties, I said already. So I was going to say we could do what foods taste better the second day.
Okay. Yeah, put a beam up. But just put a picture of food up on the Instagram.
Yep.
Guys, go follow It's Last Call on Instagram. Also, because you guys listen, we still have a record number of people in the chat. It's absolutely insane today. I can't believe how this show went from nobody following it live to a record number following it live, and that makes me happy. Listen, since you guys are still here, I got a faves to ask you. Do you think that Uncuffed should have its own Instagram channel, or do we already have too much? We love having the Last Call Instagram channel. I'm never going to get rid of that just because it's like our private little Last Call thing, and we post a crazy conspiracy memes and we have a great time with it. But do you want a comedy only section of Uncuffed? Do you think that Uncuffed should have its own little tiny Instagram? If you think so, send us a private message at Last Call and just say, yes or no to just say too many. We're not going to hate on you. I really am genuinely asking if you think we have too much Instagram stuff coming out, let us know. And also we are working on a theme music to Uncuffed. So, and we're getting new equipment this week. So it won't be dual split cameras for Monday. We're actually going to have one camera for Jay Durrell and one camera for me. So that's going to be exciting. Guys, go follow Jay Durrell on his media. Marines Bloodbath says, I want to stop discriminating against those of us without Instagram accounts. I'm sorry, Marines Bloodbath. I'm so sorry, man. Instagram, why don't you have Instagram? It's harmless.
I would get a burner just to get a burner.
I don't enjoy Instagram.
I've started
but you know what I enjoy the most? TikTok.
Because the reels. That's what I've started to find on Instagram, and they're all copied from TikTok. So I think TikTok will be the next thing I put on my phone. I don't have it yet.
TikTok. I love TikTok. The one I hate the most is Facebook. And that's the one that spies on you the most is Facebook. Your geo-tracked to a T on Facebook. At least Instagram's not blowing me up with ads. You know what I'm saying? TikTok's not blowing me up with any ads.
Facebook
you know, you get one ad when you log on to TikTok, and then you might get, you know, if you stay on it long enough, you might get an ad, but I'm not really on it that long. So, but yeah, if you had to get rid of one, man, get rid of fucking Facebook, dude. That shit's worthless. Facebook is dying. You know, nobody's on, except the old people are on Facebook, but you're right. You know, so you got to get off the phones, got to get off the social media webs, and just tune into more podcasts. So I don't want to tempt you to go to do something that you don't want to do. It's not healthy. It really is.
Get outside, ride a bike, and then put your headphones in. And
that's true. Speaking of which, I'm about to go get my jog on. We'll do a quick jog today before I get to work on the next thing. Guys, go head over to Patreon, follow our new Patreon account. It's really fun, really great guest on there. Of course, you paid members that you already get that. Please support our sponsors, Manscaped, promo code Wolfpack, ghostbed.com, promo code /Wolfpack, and stamps.com /Wolfpack. And until next time, guys, we'll see you tomorrow night for We'll see you tomorrow night for Com Center. We love you guys. Guns up. Giddy up.